One thing remains the same. That is your task and your duty.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Alpha Bravo Foxtrot. So today we are up with the first episode of Repeater Asks, Officers Answers. So this is a video that is more inclined toward all the women aspirants out there, because we are going to interview Captain Artikar, who was the first women officer in the Corps of Military Intelligence. So she has been a journalist, she has been a psychologist, she has been an army officer, she has been a pilot, and she is currently a financial banker. She's a perfect example of the fact that Indian army officers are jack of all trades and master of war. So please watch the video, and I guess it will be motivating for everyone who is watching, and it will be fruitful for all the SSB aspirants out there. So let's go and have our interview. Thank you so much. Hello ma'am, welcome to Alpha Bravo Foxtrot.
Thank you, Ashutosh. It is wonderful to be with you. It is always great to talk to youngsters. I would love to do that all the time, actually. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Okay. And it is an honor for me to have a conversation with you. So, ma'am, I'll have to start with your journey. Jैसे कि you were a journalist before, and then you were a clinical psychologist as well before joining the army. So back in 1990s, when when women had not even thought of joining the defense forces, and even today as well, I remember when there was university entrance scheme. Out of around 400 girls in our college, only 2 sat for that interview, and they didn't even go for their SSB. So what was your motivation, and what made you think कि हाँ मुझे army join करनी चाहिए back in 1990s?
Yeah, actually, I was a NCC cadet.
Okay.
I was in Navy NCC.
Okay.
And when I used to see my colleagues, or you can say fellow cadets joining the armed forces, I always used to feel very, very jealous. They get the opportunity to join the forces, and we don't get. And it was a natural progression. When I graduated, this women's special entry scheme, it started, and it was kind of a natural progression. I didn't even think about it. I simply applied, and I got the call for the interview, SSB interview, and then I appeared, because in our times it was just the SSB.
Yes, okay.
So
there was no written exam.
No written exam.
Okay.
I didn't get through my first SSB, and then I was not qualified.
Okay. No, you were recommended, or?
Yeah, I was recommended, but I didn't make it to the merit list.
Okay.
I didn't get the call for the medicals.
Medicals, okay.
Because in this Varanasi SSB, number 4 SSB,
Yeah, 4 SSB.
AFSB.
AFSB, that was my last SSB.
Yeah. So they actually, there is no hospital there.
Okay,
So
okay.
there will be a merit list, and they'll send those cadets or those candidates who make it to the merit list. They'll send separate letters for medicals. So I didn't get the call for the medicals. So I thought maybe I didn't make it to the merit list that way. So later on, when I was appearing for my PG in psychology, again I became eligible age-wise, and then applied and got through. And I think it is a good thing only that I got through to army only, because I was the first woman officer to get commissioned into INTCO, and it was something like blue blood, and I really had a good tenure in army.
Okay.
But I think you asked me something else, and I went on to the end.
No, but it's again, it's
Yeah,
more than
kind of like it was a natural progression, and I didn't think much about it.
Okay.
Women are not, because my friends who got through also, they were not permitted to join. Like one of my friends
Male
had
friends.
cleared, not me,
And the female
women. They were not allowed. The families didn't permit them to join, because there was some thinking, or maybe they thought the career, even the career progression also was not there at that time. So people didn't get permissions to join the forces.
Okay. So ultimately, but you were very motivated once it came, and
Yeah, I was self-motivated,
Okay.
and my family didn't stop me.
Okay.
They always permitted whatever you want to do, you do,
Okay.
and that is how I could join.
Okay. So So coming to the next part, it is about the SSB, your SSB. You went to SSB Bhopal.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was your experience when you went to the SSB back in 1990s? And did you learn anything, or do you have any specific memory from that part? And how did you prepare? Preparation and all is required. So what was your journey of SSB?
Yeah, see, even if you go as a fresh candidate
Yes.
without any preparation, still it is in every likelihood you will be, if you have it in you, the army ka ad also says, no? Do you have it in you? If you have it in you, you will be selected.
Okay.
No, that apart, if you prepare yourself, at least you are conversant with what all tests will be there. That again will add to your possibility of getting selected.
Yes, yes.
So there was one retired TA battalion officer, TA officer, territorial army, a territorial army officer. His name was Captain C.V. Chafekar. Now he's passed away. He used to, free of cost, he used to conduct classes for SSB probable candidates. He used to guide for UPSC also, but
Okay.
in my case it was just SSB.
Okay.
So I requested him, and you have to, he will judge,
Okay.
and accordingly he will guide you.
Yes.
What you need to improve upon, what you extra effort needed for which part. He will simply guide you. He will not tell you do this, do that. But he will explain what is the SSB, and that is how I got to know about what all will be there in the system. I could go to him only for maybe 2-3 days or a week or so at the most, and then I went for my SSB. It was 22nd SSB Bhopal,
Okay.
and I'm forgetting the number of candidates because it was in 1994.
Oh.
1994 I appeared in the SSB, and it was great fun actually. That's what people say also. Even Captain Chafekar also said it is an experience.
Yeah, exactly.
If you go with that mindset that I have to get selected or somehow or the other, or start thinking from the point of view of the selectors, it is not that. It is not required. What you are supposed to do is be yourself, give your best, think positive, write positive, behave positive, enjoy yourself. It is an experience of the lifetime. Not everybody will get. Not everybody is likely to get.
Yes.
Because I was telling you, being a psychologist, I know what a TAT is, or a psychological test is, what are what they are looking for. So earlier occasion also I was telling somebody, it is the normal people, average people, what we psychologists are looking for. There is something known as a normality curve. It is a bell-shaped curve.
Okay.
People who fall within the boundaries of the above average and below average, those are the normal people. So you have to be part of those normal people, average people, to get selected. It is not that you need to be extraordinary or like you behave normal, you behave positive, and probability of you getting selected improves or increases.
Yeah. Because SSB, as I remember, it is a lifetime. It is a lifelong memory that you will carry. Because every time you go there today, in the age of mobile phones and all, it is all taken away.
I don't know what it's like during the SSB also. Like they during the interview, I was asked, what did you do after that? After 1 o'clock you're free, no?
Yeah, exactly.
So what all you people did after 1 o'clock? So we had gone out, we were moving about, we saw the tourist places in Bhopal, Padachi.
It is a wonderful,
It is a beautiful city. And we really enjoyed, and people danced and enjoyed and sang and whatnot.
Yeah.
They had good fun, and we were 5 candidates who got selected and joined.
Okay, you all 5?
Yeah, all 5 we joined, and there was one naval officer who had joined. She was also like in other absentee batch kind of a thing. So we were 6 of us who got selected, and we 6 of us are still friends.
Okay, wait, exactly. That is a lifelong memory.
Five are my, like we 5 are batchmates,
Okay, yeah, exactly.
postmates, batchmates, whatever. So that affinity is there, and but the naval officer is also still friends with us.
Okay, okay.
So she kind of became friends with all the entire
yeah.
post only.
Okay.
We were 25 of us.
Okay.
This was 5th batch of women officer. WAC is 5, and 5 from Bhopal SSB.
Okay, I'm noting down this point. I'll ask a question later.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like now this episode is specifically made for like women candidates. It is for all, but specifically if to motivate the women candidates. And one thing about the SSB is that chances of female candidates getting recommended is much more than the male candidates. In fact, with my case, my last SSB itself, there were 60 candidates who got screened in, and out of those only 2 were selected. In the next batch, that was a women's batch, around 60 candidates again were screened in, and 13 out of them were recommended. And again, simultaneously, a batch of women in Allahabad was going on. 32 candidates were screened in, and 9 of them got recommended. That was again a women's batch. So why do you think that, as a psychologist, why is the reason that women have more chances of getting through the SSB? And like, it is a general trend that I see.
Yeah, I get your question. Actually, maybe it is the upbringing which is affecting the psyche of women. If you compare, say, a woman candidate with a male candidate, a lady candidate with a male candidate, for example, what happens is the materialism aspect. Because I have spoken, this is not off the cuff I am telling, it is something which I have discussed with people who are working in SSBs, who have worked in SSBs as psychologists. So it is the materialism. So you have to look inwards when you are, going for SSB. You have to look inwards. What exactly is your aim? Why exactly you wish to join the army? Because when you are appearing for psychological tests, whatever you may do, however you may practice, because you are being tested under duress. There is a time limit. So under duress, it is your original thought process which comes out, whether you like it or not, because you don't know what is being looked for.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So in psychological tests, many of the candidates are failing because of that is what I have been given to understand, because it is the materialism aspect which comes out. And materialism meaning selfish interest, self-gain. That is what is not being looked for. You have to, like while passing out also, the interest of your nation comes first, interest of your men comes next, and your own self-interest comes last, always and every time. That is the oath you take.
Yes.
Okay. So if you think in those perspectives, even in today's times, still unless and until you are able to give, you will not be able to get. The more you give, the more you will get. That is true for all the armed forces. I am not talking about just army or navy or all kinds of, even in paramilitary also. So all armed forces, it is true.
Okay.
So you have to think inwards. What exactly is my aim of joining? Do I want to join the armed forces just for the glamour, just for the money, just for the, and it will come out.
Okay.
If you think I'm going to be part of the armed forces to, get something, to get something, then definitely the chances of your probability of getting your selected will improve. Yeah.
So now I have a question, and it is a very interesting question, that is about OTA. So,
Okay, I didn't tell about the women officers, women candidates. So in case of women candidates, what is happening is it is coming out naturally. Maybe they want to prove themselves by joining forces, because women were suppressed. I'm not saying it is true for all. Because joining armed forces sometimes has something to do with proving yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
It is not true for all. I'm not saying it is true for all, but for some it is. For me, it was not like, I didn't think in those terms. I have to prove myself or something or the other. simply happened. It was a natural progression, I think. But in some cases it does. And they do have those qualities, leadership qualities. See, a girl, binds the whole family together.
Yes, yes.
And the whole family revolves around her when she gets married. So she's a natural born leader, and it is coming out in decisions, and that is why women are, getting more number of women are getting selected compared to men. So they are not self-centered or what. I'm not saying men are self-centered, but what I'm saying is yes, it does come out, and they have more leadership. Leadership quality index is better compared to male candidates. That is why more number of women are getting selected.
Because as compared to the men are कि चलो SSB दे आते हैं, आ गया है, हो जाएगा. Otherwise यूनिफॉर्म मिलेगी, it is all good.
Yeah.
And for
they
women,
take it maybe very seriously, but at the same time, they are natural born leaders. So it is
because women who are actually thinking of joining the armed forces are very highly determined, and until and unless they are sure, they don't go towards that thing. So I guess that works for the women candidates. Okay. So now coming to the training part. So do you remember how your first day at OTA Chennai was?
Yeah, actually, the moment you land in OTA, you are like I'm an officer, and like they show in the movies, it is exactly like that. The moment you reach there, first thing they'll do is take your measurements, make you cut your hair. You look like a I don't know what. You look like a namuna sample. And because looks don't matter. See, during the course of the training, it is like we were 25 women officers and 200 male officers. I mean cadets being trained, because we were cadets at that time. We were commissioned as second lieutenants.
Gentlemen and lady cadets.
Yeah, gentlemen cadets, lady cadets. So you are also smelling, even your fellow cadets are equally smelling bad. You're sweating it out, and it was great. And you don't know when the morning is. I mean, 4 o'clock you're getting up, and 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever, lights out time, you're crashing, and again, the next day, when the next day is starting, it is like you don't even realize what is happening with you.
बस हो रहा है.
बस हो रहा है, चल रहा है. And you're simply running around, cycling around, and it was great fun.
So there were some, like they say कि when there is academy, you see a documentary, it is of 45 minutes, and the training is of 1 year.
Yeah.
So when they say कि when you are seeing that documentary, that looks good, but academy life is hell. Only 45 minutes of.
Actually, if you take it as hell, then it is hell.
Okay.
It is like you've been trained for something. You've been trained as a platoon commander, which is the smallest fighting arm of the infantry.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've been trained to become a platoon commander, and whatever you're required to do as a platoon commander, because as an officer, you're not going to be posted as a platoon. You're an officer. Platoon commander is a OR, whatever it may be. You get to know all these things once you join the armed forces. It is a fighting unit. So if you, unless and until, I don't know, everybody knows this, it begins, that adage, that saying, which is like, the more you sweat in peace, the less you bleed in war. It begins right at the time of your initial training in OTA. The moment you enter, everything is about you becoming a good officer and a leader and a team leader. So if you think in those terms, you really enjoy the training. So, we had training just for 6 months, because we were initial batches, and it was, again I had said, it is like an experimental basis. It had started, short service commission for women officers. So we had just 6 months of training. 2 days before the training ended, I told, I am already missing the academy.
Oh, okay. It was that good.
No, it was not that good.
Okay.
The moment I said, all 24 pounced on me. What bloody nonsense you are telling? We were going through hell? What you are telling? फालतू बात मत कर. We will not even think of this place once we go out of the academy. This, that, all 24.
But
Simply
wearing
told
that
me,
uniform
you
and
won't
everything.
believe. Even now, when we get together, we still talk about the academy and
Yeah.
very fondly. And every time I drive home the fact, you people told, when I said I'm already missing the academy, you people told, yeah, nonsense, you are talking nonsense. Even now, after around 25 years now, I was commissioned in 95, around here, it is 25th year of commission. 2020. So 25 years and still we talk of the academy. It is true with male and women candidates, all. Whenever we get together, even 4-5 of us or 25 of us, we always talk about the academy.
Hey, because it is a popular saying that tough times make best of friends. And like that must have been your case.
Yeah, but we learned a lot and we became such thick friends.
But there must be some good memories. There are
Funny
lifelong
memories,
funny
yes.
memories, lifelong.
Yeah, there is something called
lessons.
as anarkali.
Anarkali.
Okay. It is like there's something known as if you commit some mistake, you will be put on restrictions.
Okay.
Restrictions meaning normal training is tough. Apart from that, you have to do something extra.
That becomes even more tough.
Yeah, it becomes more tough and to single you out from the rest of the cadets. Your beret will be, there is one that feather kind of a pink colored feather. You have to put in the beret. So anarkali wala, so that feather. No, if you if you memorize or see visualize that song. प्यार किया तो डरना क्या, that feather, no?
Yes.
So that is why people will call anarkali, irrespective of the gender.
Okay. It must have been hysterical when it was.
And this anarkali, in my batch, we opened the account.
Oh!
There were 3 of us, and there was a midterm break.
Okay.
And this is, I think, second week only. Midterm break for the senior termers, male candidates, GCs. And during weapons training, we did something because of which we were, and we went and confessed. We did this. So we invited ourselves to become anarkali. इज्जत इसलिए बच गई कि आधी बैच थी. तो हमारे people who were at par with us, they were there, and we did 3 days of restriction. Those were the only punishments. So you have to lift your cycle on your head and do Bajri parade and you do all kinds of reporting. You go to drill square and
There is a very
that time it was tough, but now it appears to be very funny. So we opened that account.
There is a very popular term named as ragada during the academy. That is also named as, if we consider it to civil life, it is some sort of ragging. So that happened during your time as well?
Yeah, it did. And I think it is the senior cadets who are authorized to do that.
Yeah, that is the official
Yeah,
ragging.
they are authorized to do that. Ragda happens when you have good food. Tuesdays used to be movie days.
Okay.
So you will get good food as dinner, and then after dinner you go for the movie. Half the people will go fall asleep during the movie because hardly you will be in a position to अच्छा AC चल रहा है. So you fall asleep, and even if AC is not working, still you fall asleep. Who's interested in the movie? But before the movie or after the movie, you will be able, you will be made to kind of puke only because so much of physical exercise they will. So it is good, it is fun. They'll make you roll, they'll make you run around and patti parade and all those things. But, it's great fun.
Okay. So were there any times, the OTI, I heard there is a hill sort of thing that is from which you can see the whole
It
city.
is called
P Hill. So, when they say whole Chennai is in a state of slumber, it is one of the most beautiful sights you can see.
I have
how was it?
very good memories of eating, some exercises, something, you must have climbed that hill hundreds of times, you know, throughout your training. So many times you climb that hill. So again, same thing. 1 week before the training ended, I was like, एक बार P hill का ऊपर जाना है. Especially in the evening, no, Chennai is all lit up.
Yeah.
And it looks beautiful, and you see the airport also from. Along with I was about to go alone, chupchap, and one of my friends, postmates, she said, "Where are you going?" I told her, "I am climbing P hill."
Okay.
We slipped and went and climbed P hill and ended up having restrictions. Because
Last-
you're not
last-
supposed to.
last-
Yeah.
Okay.
One restriction only, because hardly any time was left. And that drill practice and everything, passing, parade practice was going on. So the moment we came down after our adventure, because you are not supposed to move about alone, either in buddy pairs or in forts. So at the night, even in night time, you are not allowed to move out freely. So two of us went to PE, came down, and some instructor was there, some senior cadet only was there. So he caught us, and we were put on restrictions. One day restriction. But so what? One day
Well, you
restriction is
enjoyed that.
nothing. It's all it was great fun.
So,
And people who come rolling down. Yeah.
that
P hill. Many a
Okay.
times people had to come rolling down the hill. So it was, while doing that it was difficult, but later on you have such fond memories.
exactly.
Yeah. Great fun.
So now my last question based on OTA, that is, how was the feeling once you were passing out? How was the passing out parade, and once you
You
don
take that
those
last step,
Antim
Antim
Pal.
Pal. My God, it's such a proud feeling. Amazing it is. You're so motivated, and then you want to do something for the country, and along with all your friends and colleagues, and then you become colleagues. So you end up being highly motivated after 6 months of training, now 1 year of training. So motivated, and you want to give your life for the country. That motivated, and it is great. You feel very, very proud. People become emotional.
Yeah, exactly.
And you won't believe, three people, like the parade, 3 people took the Antim Pal together from one side and from another
Yeah,
side.
yeah.
Okay, so at a time 6.
that
So-
song I remember, Auld Lang Syne,
Yeah.
that place where you were going through.
Yeah.
So कैसा लगता है, मतलब like when I imagine it, मेरे को तो goosebumps अभी से ही आ जाते हैं, तो आपको तो क्या लगा होगा?
उस टाइम पे ऐसा कुछ ज़्यादा लगता नहीं है, but that bond, what I'm trying to say is, the 3 people who took Antim Pal with the other 2 people, I'm still friends with them.
Yeah,
Even that also becomes a bond. So you bond with people like anything. I'm still in touch with both of them. Like one was a woman cadet, and one was a male cadet. And there were 200. I told you before. There were 200 of them. But I'm in touch with. We were just 25. So all 25 are in touch with each other. But this male officer also I am still in touch with.
Okay.
So we took the Antim Pal and we remember that, that moment. So it is some special moment in our lives, and we still remember.
So now I'm coming to your service part. That is the core of military intelligence. Also, it is a very, there are very many things that have to be kept a secret. But can you give me the light on your service in the core of military intelligence? And
Yeah.
what was
Actually,
it all
when I also joined Corps of Intelligence, when I asked even my in the academy, when I asked people around what my work profile will be like, so they were not able to give a satisfactory answer.
Okay.
So they told me once you join, you'll get to know. It is like that only. Once you join, but yeah, my first posting was in Army headquarters. I was a bit disappointed because you're so motivated
Yeah,
to
exactly.
be in the field only.
Exactly.
Fight the Pakistanis and all, or now Chinese maybe. And Army headquarters is like any other, you can say government office,
Okay.
5 days a week and all
Okay.
that. But later on I got used to it and I realized how important it is.
Mhm.
But as a young officer, I thought I could have done better if I had been posted in a field or something or whatever. But being a first had its lacuna or whatever you will call it, shortcomings.
Mhm.
After getting over this thing, I was in Army Liaison, which was mostly dealing with the media. I had both the media and the psychology profile. So we were dealing with media only. So media policy and everything, we decided it was not a very, what do you call, int-related.
Okay.
Int-related meaning gathering of intelligence related.
Okay.
But later on I was posted in the intelligence units. These are counter-intelligence units. So I did my stint with counter-intelligence unit after my first post, which means you, as the word goes, intelligence counter the intelligence.
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay, counter meaning adversaries ka whatever efforts, intelligence efforts are going on, you counter those efforts.
Okay.
That much I can tell you.
Okay.
Other than that, but it was really good. I was trained as an interrogator also. I did some interrogations, some high-profile ones also, and I worked as a psychologist. I coordinated some defense psychological research projects.
Interrogation isn't like those we see in the movies. Them pakad ke ekdam like, is it like that? Or it is-
Yeah, sometimes it does, and but mostly intelligence units are called when there are joint interrogations.
Okay, okay.
If we catch hold of somebody, then it is different, especially in the field. But I did mostly GICs.
Okay.
Itna zyada during war and all they show, but sometimes it does happen. And JICs, it is you don't touch the suspect because there are other agencies also involved. So joint interrogations meaning army, police, IB, all these people will be involved. So I don't know anything, but yeah, no problem. It is a known thing.
Okay.
So not much, but it is film. They show exaggerated.
Yes.
I sometimes feel. Sometimes it does happen.
Okay. So now, like now your military training, as you said, ki, what military training does is that it fills you with josh and fire. जब तो बस मतलब ना, like as you said, कि पाकिस्तानियों को मार गिरा. So that was sort of thing, but that josh was like there is a psychological satisfaction that every soldier needs after his training. So did the psychological warfare and involvement in the military intelligence satisfy that josh or like वो भी
Yeah,
रहा?
I participated in some operations which I cannot tell you about, and
Okay.
it did. See, as I said, being the first woman officer in INCO was like there was some certain shortcomings, there were certain benefits.
Yes.
So I could get whatever I discussed with people. They came and discussed with me what exactly we should do with you, kind of a thing. And then we decided on certain things, and accordingly my postings were done, and I went to intelligence units, and I participated in some high-profile operations also, which I cannot tell you about, and some high-profile interrogations, high-profile operations, and in which some outcomes were outstanding and all that, and I really felt good about it.
So that
I was trained, I participated, I used my training, surveillance we did everything. It was great fun.
So now talking about the women in armed forces, like recently a movie named Gunjan Saxena came in. There were a lot of controversy related to that. Women are not treated equally or they are not treated good in the armed forces.
That
Was
is
that-
incorrect actually. It is not about treating good or bad or whatever. Most of the things also depend upon you, how you're able to handle things. Like even Gunjan Saxena, it is like you should take it in your stride. You cannot say that army is being, treating women badly. See, this mindset which we have, gender sensitization is a very big issue in our country. It is not just in armed forces, it is everywhere throughout the country. So you can't say army treated you differently or whatever. I was very lucky maybe. Or I'm not aware that I was treated in a differently. Like, you know, in my unit, for example, I'm telling you, initially for few days, naturally, if suddenly some woman officer is posted and it is a male bastion,
Yes,
and some woman officer is coming on posting, and they don't know how to deal with you because they don't have training,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, how to deal with you. And then after a while they realize, oh, she is going to do the work of our young officer. We cannot afford not to give her work. So immediately work started coming to me. You have to be a bit patient. It helped, I don't know, somehow. I was a patient maybe, and then work started coming to me and I started performing, and you know, every time, yes, initial days I had to prove myself wherever I went. Every transfer, I'm under the microscope, I'm being watched. Whether she will be able to deliver or not. The moment they realize I'm able to deliver, fine. She's like any other young officer, she has to be ragodified and buggered and everything. So, pura, like for example, again I'm telling you, every weekend I'll be the duty officer. So whatever duty officer concept is there in all the entire army, you can say. So every weekend, all the even clubs and all the officers and their families, they'll be in the club and I'll be in the unit working. And late in the night, I'll go and join them in the club or whatever. And if I complain, why every weekend my duty only? We have a duty roster. Why every weekend I'm put on duty? तुम्हारा family थोड़ी है. You're single. You're single. You don't need. You can work. You can afford to work on the weekend. Then I will tell them, अगर मेरा ऐसा ही ड्यूटी लगाते रहे every weekend, I will never have a family. Because during work days, as it is, you working like extra and everything, and then weekends also. So, but they used to take it in their strides, and then like when I said, treated at par or whatever. Initial few days, like they controlled the way they spoke, no ma bhen ka gali and everything.
Because they are gentlemen.
Yes,
yeah.
They started suddenly behaving like gentlemen and all, and it's fine. Like, but after few days, week 10 days, they realized that ये तो हर दिन हमारे साथ है. How long can you control? So they stopped minding me. This is like
So it was like everything was equal, and you were treated like just another army officer.
Because I was in NCOR and the work was like more of menial work was not there.
Yeah,
so that way, it must have been whatever. But I didn't face much of gender bias, and I was quite patient, while dealing with them, and maybe that also helped. And maybe people around me were also equally good, so that might have also added. I can't say I faced any gender bias as such.
And
but special treatment is wherever I went, because I'm a novelty. Right from in army headquarters, you find generals and all roaming about. 1-star, 2-star, whatever, 3-star generals, brigadiers, big people roaming about. A whole lot of them. And a second lieutenant is a rare commodity. You never see a second lieutenant posted in army headquarters. All the guards and all, they will salute me. I was like, General साहब को salute करो, वो तो हर दिन आता है, मतलब आप अकेले हो. And the people who told, like in Gunjan section, I don't agree with that. Oh, madam साहब आ रही है. People used to call me sir, people used to call me साहब, and they used to salute me. I never please वो madam आ रही है, उसको salute करना है, तो let us turn about. I don't agree with that. I have not faced that at least. In fact, people used to make, specially salute me and all. Because I was a commodity in army headquarters.
Because it is generally considered that army officers are not only trained to be a soldier but also a gentleman.
Yeah.
So that is why I guess that part does not come true in the Indian army. I guess.
Yeah, I
the
guess.
gender bias.
Yeah, perhaps.
Okay. So now, like you were in the army when the Kargil war was being fought. So can you give us more light? What were the movements going on, and how?
Actually, I was not. My unit did not participate in Kargil war. We were in the eastern sector, but we were on the what do you call? We were sounded. If required, we required.
Okay.
three of my batchmates, laid their lives for the country during Kargil war, and during Kargil, yes, we had some tense moments and everything, but we did not actually move during Kargil war.
So, like as far as camaraderie is concerned, like military academy make you best of friends, and when you as a soldier yourself, how did you feel when your your brother officers were killed in the action or were martyred in the action? How does
we were even two of them were from my company only, Purima company. I was in. I don't know whether I should tell the name, but yeah, they were from the same company, so we were close to them. So it was really very mixed feeling. We were very proud that, and we still remember them, and we had close association with two of them, and Captain Jindu Ovey and Major Savanan. So we were like, throughout the training we were together, and later on maybe once in a while somebody or the other met these officers, and during training but we were very close and mixed feeling between I think. We were sad also. The young officers, they passed away. They led their lives, but very, very, very proud. Somebody very close with, and they led their lives for the country.
So that was the moment when everybody realizes that as a soldier, what we are giving to the country.
Yeah. See, each one of us, like, whether it is Kargil war, whether it is Parakram, that is what followed Kargil war was Parakram. So whatever one could contribute. It is not that when I realized if I am not actually participating in the war, maybe I reconciled with that. It is a what you call justification which I gave it to myself because I wanted to be there, at the. Everybody wants. Everybody wants to be at the fighting front, especially when something like this happens, because you're trained to do that. And but you need people who are working, in the background as well. So I justified my not being there at the forefront by saying I put in. You won't believe. From whatever normally I will work, I must have worked extra. I must have worked double during all these operations. And I did put in, everybody does. And in the army especially, none of the women officers moved to the forefront during Kargil war. Air Force, they are saying helicopter pilots they went, but none of the army officers moved. So that is how it is, because that maybe gender, maybe, and there are certain practical problems. Kargil was fought extensively under media glare. If something would have happened, I am not saying what the army did or armed forces did was right or wrong or whatever. But media glare at that time would have been, centered around if something happened to the woman officer during the operation. This is how media works. And the focus would have been shifted from Kargil war, coverage of Kargil war, to women officers. And that did not happen. So the entire focus continued to be, media focus especially continued to be on the Kargil war. And sometimes I have been saying this, we won that war because of the media focus, international opinion, formed because of the media focus. It did play a great role in winning Kargil war. Because Pakistan kept on, insisting, they never accepted.
I don't
regulars were there during Kargil war, but they were regulars during Kargil war. We got the details, we got the I-cards, they came down to my unit also with evidences of the regulars being there in other side. Oh, they did the excursions which they did. They were Pakistani rebels.
Ma'am, again as a soldier, you're when coming back to the part when your comrades laid down their life for the country. It must have been, there's a point of anger that comes in as a countryman, if as a civilian itself.
Yeah, you want to do something immediately,
Yeah,
you want to
exactly.
go and find and
Yeah. So गुस्सा तो आता ही होगा.
पक्का गुस्सा तो आता ही है, especially when now if you ask me, I will think differently.
Yeah.
But when I was young, if the person I trained myself along with, and he has laid his life for the country, and the way it was done, I will not go into the details. Yes, you blood boils. You want to immediately go and slaughter those people.
Yeah, exactly.
It happens. It is there, but you have to use your.
Mind.
You have to keep your cool. Use your brains. That is all what is what. You cannot win war during emotions. See, little bit of slackness may cost you. You have to be very, very careful.
Conscious.
Yeah, very conscious. And most of them did, I think, and it was great.
So now coming to your part itself, what did the army life, the training and the life that you lived in the army teach you most, and what to the youth of our country, to us and all the other defense aspirants and all the other people? What do you think that
I
army life
always
taught
say
you?
that the army is not a service or anything. It is a lifestyle. Okay, so it becomes part of your life. It is not 10 to 5 नौकरी है कर दो बाबूगिरी, go to office, come back, and after 5 o'clock you forget about it. It is not like that. It is part of your life. It is part of your everyday life, and it is something unique which once you experience, then only you realize. There is some certain aspects, of the army life, or for that matter, life in armed forces, which will never be part of civil life. And when I was there, I feel privileged. I feel privileged to be part of the esteemed armed forces. I was army officer, and I was a blue blood first woman officer. I do feel privileged.
Okay. And so, ma'am, one last thing is, what is the message that you would give to the women, and how would you motivate women, and what is the message that you would give, motivate all the girls out there to join the defense forces, or to the life, or to the life?
Not only women, I would
everyone.
Everyone. In fact, what I would like to tell you all is go for it and give your 100%. It is a different lifestyle altogether. Now the service conditions have also improved especially for women officers. Now the permanent commission is in, so you do have a career progression, and this career is like no other career, and you will enjoy, you will have fun, you will work hard, you will do really well if you put your mind to it. And I think you must, not only women, must make an effort and join the armed forces. That is what I would like to say, and wish you all the very best. Thank you. And I will wish all the very best to Ashutosh also.
Thank you.
And thank you for having me, Ashutosh.
And ma'am, one last message, please ask them to subscribe to Alpha Bravo Foxtrot.
Please subscribe to Alpha Bravo Foxtrot, and that subscribe and notification bell, you must press it. And thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, it was an honor to talk to you.
Thank you.